Let's turn out number 64 at Calvary. Number 65. Glorious is thy name.
Ken and Judy. And I'm going to do what we always do. I'm going to read to you some of our emails. These are letters that we get from around the country and around the world. These are people that write to us. They see us either on TV or they see us on the internet, and we get emails from everywhere around the world. We're on the internet streaming 24 hours a day. So you can watch us on the internet preaching all day long and all night long if you want to, if you got that much time. And then we're on TV out in Los Angeles and a bunch of all up and down the East Coast and the West Coast, and all the big towns like New York. We're on all the boroughs in New York, in Boston, where all of the blue bloods live, and whatever that means. And we're on in Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., and Charleston, South Carolina, and Miami, and up in Alaska and over in Hawaii. Got a call from Hawaii just the other day. And I have an email here from Ryan Hall in Kansas. We're on one station that telecasts us all over Kansas. And they write to us. Ryan writes to us and says, "Wow, I'm still watching your video exposing Pentecostalism and speaking in tongues, number 2184. Your video is amazing and wonderful and excellent. I cannot stop agreeing. It is just wonderful. I used to be a Pentecostal for a long time, but only in the past 10 to 20 years have I started coming out of it, and I will never ever go back to it again as long as I live. Good. It's false teaching, all of it. Their Jesus is the wrong Jesus. Jesus doesn't go around healing people at our will. That's not true. He heals who he wills. And your video only made my convictions even more severe. And you mentioned that you could help people build a library of study books. Can you please send me a list of good books besides the KJV Bible, which I have, that I can use to study with? Please let me know what is in your library. I've got several thousand books in my library. You don't need all them. Can I have a book reading list, please? Thank you. And God bless." Wow. Ryan Hall in Kansas. Thank you, Ryan. And we'll be contacting you on that. You need a Strong's exhaustive concordance, first of all, to be able to look up the words, and then books, these encyclopedias like the McClintock and Strong and the Hastings, things like that. We love you, Ryan. Keep writing. And then we got an email from Robert Goff, no address given. "Hello again, Grace and Truth. I emailed you several months ago asking for your guidance in selecting an interlinear Bible. Well, what you need is J.P. Green's Interlinear. Now, the modern ones have the, this is the Interlinear here, and the modern ones have the Strong's numbers in them by the words, and that way you can be reading the Interlinear and look up the Strong's number. And then I have since purchased the J.P. Green one you recommended." Well, they've already got that. "I'm also expecting The Life and Times of Jesus the Messiah by Alfred Edersheim next week. I'm so thankful for Grace and Truth Ministries. I feel so alone in this life." I get that a lot from people. I feel alone. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And just knowing that there are people only 8 hours away who share what I believe is a comfort bend description. It is in God's will. I hope to visit you all for the October picnic. Mr. Brown, I have thought on many occasions that I wish you were my earthly dad, because mine tortured me. Well, mine tortured me, not physically, but he mentally abused all of his kids until I was taken away at age 8. Boy, at times I wish I was taken away. I wouldn't live the first 18 years of my life for $1 billion. It's too hard. My father bullied everybody he was around all day, every day, and thrust into a life of foster homes and other institutions before being aged out of the system at 18. I love your love of truth, how you teach us all who seek after it as well. So I hope you won't mind if I embrace you hard if I get to visit. Well, that'll be fine. I know you probably hear 1,000 times a month words of encouragement and urges to continue on your God-ordained path of teaching us all the real truth. I even stated that in my first email, but I know that you will continue on because you say you will until the day you die. I'll teach till I die. I went to my doctor the other day and I said, why am I always tired? He said, well, there's probably a good reason for that. I said, do I need Geritol or something like that? He said, no, probably the main reason is you're 78 and you preach with great intensity. I said, oh, okay. So he kind of answered that. I said, but I'm not going to stop, not till I'm at least 90. Well, that ain't that far away. That's about 11 and a half years. And that is one thing I thank God for after watching you every time, almost daily now. Your commitment to us and the way it makes us feel is indescribable. Thank you for obeying the inner man, Robert Goff. And he didn't tell us what his address was, but we will be in touch. Then Angela wrote to us. I don't know where she's from, no address. Greetings, men and women of God. I was honored to watch your spirit-led teaching about tithes and Levites. My name is Angela, a woman who hungers for the more of God. I believe God Almighty led me to your YouTube teachings to give me revelation. I am currently trying to realign myself from a backsliding state. Well, if you slid backwards away from lies, that's good. You don't need to be there. And I wouldn't think the churches you've been to were churches of truth. In 2007, I made vows before an ordained elder to my children's father without getting the marriage license. I was double-minded and confused after I was told we were not married, but God revealed he did seal the vows, but the enemy came in like a flood in our, I guess, spiritual marriage. Well, spiritual marriage is not going to help when it comes to divorce and dividing the property. You get that? After about a month, the mother of the man I made vows with said we were not married. Well, she's got a case there. You're going to have to get that straightened out. You need not to bring any reproach upon the church by doing something the world can complain about. It's like Jesus, or like Paul, when he came to Lystra and he meets this young man named Timothy. Well, Paul said we're not to go around circumcising people to make them a Jew. Well, Timothy's mother was a Jewish. His father was a Gentile. Paul said, let's shut the mouth of the Pharisees by going ahead and have you circumcised. Well, sometimes that, I don't believe in rituals, but sometimes that would be necessary in a case like that to shut their mouths. And it has been downhill ever since. His heart hardened because I didn't work and left me for another woman, and then another woman whom I believe operates in witchcraft. My heart hardened after years of interceding and hoping. I grew weary and entered into a relationship with a teacher who grew up a Jehovah's Witness. Boy, you jumped out of the frying pan in the fire, didn't you? And I shared your teachings with him about tithes because he does not believe in them. I prayed to God about this man, and if he is not the one God picked because he asked for my hand in marriage through my disobedience. We don't need to be hooking up with unbelief. I have been afflicted in my body and economically oppressed for years. I want salvation and to do the will of God. I don't want to die in sin. Please pray for us. I need my footing back. I used to teach and exhort to set the atmosphere, but I fell short of God's glory. I thank you for standing for the truth of God and being obedient. Bless you and your ministry. Can you please instruct me on how to request DVDs? The Lord is using you mightily. Angela, well, all you have to do is give us your address and say, I want the DVDs, and we'll start sending them to you. It's real simple. Don't cost you anything. All right, let me see here. See how many of these I got. I got a bunch of them. I'm not going to be able to read all of them. Let me see here. Here's a short one. Chris Snyder in Florida. Pretty amazing how locusts can come in swarms like in this video on Madagascar battles the worst locust plague in 60 years. I can just imagine how severe it must have been for Israel because of their disobedience towards God. Chris Snyder in Florida. Thank you for the comment, Chris. And then Ricky Jenkins, Oklahoma City, writes, greetings to the Israel of Elohim Shalom, to all on the Thalipsis Hodos. Much charis, grace. If you, my precious under shepherd, please forgive my incorrect spelling of Iddo in my last correspondence. My question should have read, do you believe a better parsing of Iddo would be not just to have seen the car accident I witnessed, but to have eyewitnessed the accident by being in the very accident you've eyewitnessed? Well, you would certainly know if you were in the accident, wouldn't you? Maybe it's just me, but Paul was telling about his Iddo because of the changes God had brought to pass in Paul's life. From a Christian killer to a dying daily for the ones he at one time was killing. I believe I stated it and spelled it correctly this time. Shalom, Shabbat, Agapatos, the redeemed. Ricky Jenkins in Oklahoma City. We love you, Ricky. Keep writing. And I'll read a couple more short ones. I can't read these long ones, not all at once. I'll read these. Here's some YouTube comments. Zelon Dan commented on predestined to adoption, obtain inheritance, new birth is by the will of God. How do you understand the parable of the prodigal son? The prodigal son was a son. He never was not a son. He didn't fall out and get unsaved. There's no such thing. He was a prodigal just like most of you have been and I have been. We wander away from God when we're not founded in the truth. Craig Terrell commented on predestination, prophecy separating from unbelief. I shared this on Google Plus, and hopefully this will make some more new enemies, or either the Holy Spirit will reveal this truth to pew warmers that hate me and change their hearts. I love in your face truth, no beating around the bush with sweetness of deception. Well, I never have been able to do that. On a nearby Pentecostal church's Facebook page, they had all the children dressed as angels around a Christmas tree, and was disgusting because our kids are deceived by cowards that elect themselves as preachers. These people know me personally, and I believe they hate me with a passion. Well, they're supposed to. Reconix Eunuchs, a summary of the Old Testament from Genesis to Malachi. I can see where this heading, another apologist trying to lay claim they know God and, more important, Jewish traditions. Any scholar would have known that the book of Daniel under the Jewish Torah is part of the Ketuvim, the writing, and only under the Christian version of the Old Testament it was moved to the prophets. Well, you can sit and debate that all day long. So SAWDWD BQWFQAF, that's their name on here. The virgin birth myth began with Eve. I hope to hear from you. What do you think of the serpent seed doctrine? That's not true. It seems logical to me. Well, it's not. Who in the world ever said that Satan had sperm in him so he could impregnate a woman? That's ridiculous. It seems logical to me. Well, it's not logical. Logical comes from the word logos. Logos is the Greek word, so it's not according to the Bible. What's your thoughts, sir? Who impregnated Eve? Adam, when they were in their sin. That's why I believe Cain was born out of wedlock. That's why he was left out of the lineage of God. I don't have time to go there. Jesse Cox commented on predestination. God has predetermined all things. Everything happens at the exact time. If it's true that everything is preordained, predetermined, then that would mean that no one is truly bad or good. Oh yes, it means everybody's bad. If God doesn't preordain a family, nobody's coming. Example, Bible says about Judas as a betrayer and the worst sinner and whatever, and what Jesus defining hypocrite. Jesus would not truly be the betrayer or anything bad, since he had no choice or what he was scripted to do. Jesus said, "I have not I chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil." He chose Judas to do the evil work that he wanted him to do. That'll be enough reading here. And I'll read some more of these tonight. All right. Let me see here. I'll set these aside. Set these over here. All right. I get a lot of emails, and I can't read them all. I would if I could, but I can't. All right. If you're in Nashville, you can watch us on TV every night. Every night on Channel 49 Comcast at 8:30. We were supposed to be on at 8:30 or 9 this morning, but they didn't play us, so we'll call and have them make that up in case some of you are watching. I always turn it on Sunday morning to see if we're on, and for some reason they didn't play us. All right. But we're on every night, 8:30, on Channel 49. And we're on in Hendersonville, Channel 3, Tuesday evening at 5 and Thursday night at 7. We support our needy people. We've got a lot of needy folks that just really have a hard time living. And we try to send them a little money each month. And if you want to help these needy believers, they are believers. You say, well, how much in need are they? Well, several of them make less than $500 a month. I don't know how they live. We try to help all we can. And if you want to help these needy believers, make your check to Grace and Truth and put needy on the bottom of it, and that goes to them. And then if you want to send a gift card or whatever you want to do, that'll either way will be fine. And if you would like to, we support our missionaries here, and they meet here. Scott and Dee were down in Ecuador for about 8 years. They wrestled with caiman crocodiles and boa constrictors and a whole bunch of other and headhunters. And I asked Scott when the word was out that there were headhunters in his area, how that affected him. He said it scared him to death every night when he's going to sleep. He had a hard time sleeping because he's got 4 precious little ones, and he said it was kind of scary. But they were down there for 8 years. They're back up here, meet here. Scott preaches in Spanish every Tuesday night. If you want to If you want to support them, we appreciate everybody that'll support them to some degree. And if you can, support them. And make your check to Grace and Truth and put mission on the bottom of it. Or you can put it all on one check. Yes, Scott?
We have a sign-up sheet for anyone that would like to help with the cameras or...
If you want to help run the camera on Tuesday night, just put sign up on the sign-up sheet back here. You don't have to understand Spanish, but you can help get this message to the Spanish-speaking people around the world, because it's going out over the internet while he's speaking. So we need people to sign up. And we do meet at my house every Friday night to package up DVDs. And those of you that come or want to come, be sure and bring some food, because we eat together. And I wasn't feeling well Friday night, but somebody said there wasn't much food there Friday. Well, if there's not much food, then starve, okay?
I thought there was a lot of food. There was a lot of pizza.
Was it? I don't know. I wasn't there.
I thought there was, but
Was there plenty?
there was a lot of pizza.
A lot
And
of
then
pizza.
Scott made homemade lasagna, so I mean, I thought there was a lot of food. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay. Lasagna? I like lasagna.
Yep.
Yeah, I like
It
lasagna.
was good, so I hear.
Okay.
What time do y'all meet in your house?
We wander in about 7.
I don't know. I don't even know your
If you want to come, let me show you where we live, okay? Well, not where I live, but where they meet. If this is the church, and this is the steeple, open the door and there's the people. That's the church. This is Gallatin Road. Gallatin Road. You go down to where the